They're together.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yes. Yes. So all in favor of removing the executive session, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Now if I get a motion to approve the agenda as amended,
So moved, Your Honor.
and second?
Second.
All in favor, we had a first and second, all in favor of approving the agenda as amended, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Next item, consideration and approval of the minutes from the March 3rd, 2014 meeting. Any changes? Motion, please.
Motion to approve the March 3rd regular Board of Aldermen meeting as submitted.
And second?
Second.
Had a first and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Next item, excuse me, motion to approve the minutes from the March special meeting from March 6, 2014. Any changes? Motion,
Motion
please.
to approve the special Board of Aldermen minutes for March 6th as submitted.
March 3rd.
No, 6. We just did
Okay.
3rd. Okay. Second?
Second, Your Honor.
Any changes? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries.
April 7th.
Motion to approve the regular meeting from April 7, 2014. Any changes? Alderwoman Saunders?
Okay, on page 4, under Bill 5859, after the title of the bill, if you go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 to the 9th line, which begins with minimum with other policies that minimum can vary. After that vary, if you would insert Alderwoman Saunders' question why we offer $30,000 life and accidental dismemberment, but we also offer another $15,000 policy. I can see one policy terminates based on retirement age or closer to that, and one goes to the age of 99. And I think then she answers, let's see, then she answers the question. Let me make sure that I'm sorry. Okay, and the policy is 50,000, she answers that. And then if you go down to two more, down to 11, after the option to purchase additional insurance, Alderwoman Saunders asked if the documents we have are correct. Pam stated these documents are from 2007. Currently, we have $50,000. She believes we have old documents, and this is the first she's heard of the $30,000. And then just down a couple more where it says balance unum determines employee's qualification. Alderwoman Saunders stated that we should have to exhaust our sick days before going into short-term disability. And the mayor and Bulla agreed that the employees must use sick pay first. And then I stated that I don't believe that's the way it's being done. And Pam interacted that that's the way the contract is written. They will not pay short-term disability at the same time the insurance company is paying sick days.
Alderman Lady?
Clarify if I may, you do not have to use up all your sick pay. You cannot collect your sick pay and short-term disability at the same time. That would give you more than 100% of your pay. But I can receive short-term disability and make up that differential by using a few sick days.
I believe
So-
that was that was the clarification made, but what I'm saying, Alderman Leahy, is...
Well, but I don't want you to put it in the minutes that that's the
Well, I mean,
correct
but you've got to...
interpretation.
Can you interject that? Because the thing is Pam is referring to the document that she was talking about,
No.
the contract with Lincoln, and that's another. So if you want to, I'll make the amendment that we go back and have that conversation put in there verbatim. Because it's hard for me to get these on Thursday night, Easter weekend, and try to go back and listen to tapes and put in verbatim.
But I don't see how any of those comments really affect, the vote was taken. So, I mean, how did it, what benefit does it have to make all those changes in the minutes when the vote's been taken? The real important thing of the minutes is the vote. And So, I mean,
Okay, well, I'm fine to take that last statement out, that's fine.
Okay.
The reason, though, like Alderman Leahy, I do agree with you that there was further clarification, but they weren't all my statements.
No.
So it's hard when you don't have verbatim minutes, and that's why I didn't put them all in. But I do disagree with the mayor in the fact that we were just saying to move with Lincoln, and I think there was a difference, a discrepancy between what Pam was saying and what our current Unum policy said. But I'm willing to strike that,
Well,
and we can deal with that at Ways and Means.
further clarification, even going to Lincoln, which is what we voted to do, I can still declare my short-term disability, make up the differential with sick pay to receive 100%. I cannot receive 101, 110%. I can just get to the 100%.
That was the clarification that was made.
Okay.
Julie, but Pam, her exact words, Pam interjected that the way the contract is written, they will not pay short-term disability at the same time they are paying sick days. And actually, it shouldn't have been the first day, it should have been the insurance company, is what she said. So you should listen to that, because that's, do you know what I mean? I know later, but we're Unum then, and that's not what Pam was saying with the new one.
It's the same. Whether it's Lincoln, whether it's
Unum.
Union, you would never have the opportunity to get
collect
paid
both.
for all your sick plus short-term disability that would put you over the 100%.
right.
Yep.
Okay. I'm fine, just don't put that last statement in, Octavia, if that's okay.
Do you want to have a chance to review these? Okay,
Well,
motion.
I just need clarification on what I'm inserting.
Well,
Just
can we put it in
Did
writing?
you get the first two? And then also I'm saying is that the thing that I stated about the sick days, you can just skip all that.
Okay,
Just skip it all.
okay.
You got it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Motion to amend that is what.
Right. We need the motion to amend the minutes.
So moved.
And second.
I will second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion Motion carries. Motion to approve the minutes as amended.
So moved.
Second, Your Honor.
We have first and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. No presentations this evening. No public hearings. Bids, we have 3.
Yes. The first one is the fireworks display for Brentwood's annual Madden Fest. The city issued a request for proposal for the community fireworks. We received 2 vendors, submitted a response, J&M Display and Gateway Fireworks. We asked in the RFP that they submit an agreement for 3 years plus a contract with 2-year options for renewal, that they list a list of key personnel who will be working with the city, and a safety plan and site survey. When the evaluation team consisting of Eric Grunfelder, Sue Cruson, and Barb Bebeau reviewed the submittals, it was determined that Gateway Fireworks complied with the requirements in the RFP. They demonstrated a better safety plan and site survey. They also included a list of all key personnel who will be working with the city during the festival, and they provided a cost agreement for a 3-year contract with a 2-year option for renewal, whereas the second responder, J&M Display, only submitted an agreement for a 1-year contract with 2-year options for renewal, nor did they list all the key personnel that will be working with staff during that event. Upon the conclusion of the review, the evaluation committee met with Chief Jury, and he concurred on their selection. We contacted all references and were satisfied, so Public Works recommends Gateway Fireworks.
Okay, next bid.
The next bid, the city issued a request for proposal for routine preventative maintenance and inspections of all garage doors at City Hall, the Police Department, Fire Department, Public Works Department, Recreation Center, Historical Society, the Memorial Park Building, and the Brentwood Park Building. The vendors were asked to submit a 3-year cost for 14, 15, and 16. And we received 2 responses from Zumwalt Corp. at $1,140 a year with a 3.5 increase per year on labor only. And Borges Door Company. They submitted a response at $1,562 with a 2% increase per year on preventative maintenance and labor. Public Works and staff recommend Zumwalt Corp. As the low bid for the 3-year contract.
Okay, and third bid.
The third item is a result of the East Central Dispatch communication. When the Board of Aldermen approved the ECDC providing dispatch services, we knew that there would be anticipated expenses relating to this transition. One of those expenses is an upgrade to the 5 cameras that are in the holding cell. One of the cities that is participating in this, that they would also like the video monitoring, went out several months ago and issued an RFP. They recommended Will Electronics and that they would provide a local server in their city hall. We were hoping that the city would have had a chance to present this document to their city council so that they could execute it, and we would piggyback on that through an interlocal government agreement. However, we're not working under the same time frame. So in the meantime, the city's purchasing code allows the purchasing agent, which is the city administrator, to go out into the open market and request for up to 2 bids, provided that they are of a value less than $10,000. Robin Zlatic, our IT manager, went out to the open market and got a total of 4 quotes. We've provided you an update of those 4 quotes tonight, and the recommendation for the low and best bid is Will Electronics at $9,974.74.
Okay.
Your Honor, if I may.
Alderman Lay.
These are upgraded services. The current cameras that we have will not do the job?
We need to make sure that there are cameras that are compatible with what ECDC has.
To tie into their system so that
Exactly.
everybody can use the same thing.
And their preferred vendor as well is Will Electronics.
And we own the equipment after that
Yes.
to work with.
This would qualify as part of the ECC grant reimbursement. Of the $9,974, about $950 out of that would be ongoing operating costs that the city would have to absorb, but the balance we would submit for reimbursement.
Thank you.
Okay. Item 8, hearing of any matters of public interest upon request of any persons present. If anybody would like to address the Board of Aldermen, please come forward and give us your name and address. Hearing none, we'll move on to introduction and reading of bills. If I have a motion for to remove bill number 5796 off hold,
So moved, Your Honor.
and second.
Second.
This is just to remove bill number 5796 off hold. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Now if I could have a motion for the first and second readings of bills number 5796, 5861, 5862, 5863, 5864, 5865. First and second readings only?
I'll make that motion, Your Honor.
And second?
Second. Your Honor, there were 2 5863s, one that was with the packet and one that was given to us separately. Is there a difference between the 2 bills? Not that I noticed.
No.
I don't think so.
No, okay, so we
There weren't
just
any changes.
got a duplicate. Thank you.
Okay.
I got this.
Motion was made for first and second readings of the listed bills. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. First reading of bill number 5796, please.
First reading Bill Number 5796 by title only, an ordinance authorizing an STP urban program agreement with MoDOT relating to the Hanley Industrial Complex Improvements Project and providing for the effective date of this ordinance.
Synopsis, please.
Yes, Your Honor, we've been waiting for a little while to read the synopsis. Bill 5796, Hanley Industrial Court Pedestrian Improvements, Federal Project Number STP 5577632. That's the TIP number 6306-15, Program Agreement, Programming Comments and Environmental Requirements. Covers a bill for an ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Brentwood and our city administrator to approve an agreement with MoDOT for the Hanley Industrial Court Pedestrian Improvement Project. Total project cost is $938,881. The federal match of that is $751.105. $751,105, a little bit more expensive. The local match is $112,776, and the Hanley Industrial Court Association match is $50,000, with the pelagic match of $25,000. The project starts from the intersection of Stroessner Drive and Hanley Industrial Court, then runs westwardly along Stroessner Drive to Memorial Park, also from the north side of the Hanley Industrial Complex along the Hanley Industrial Court, south to the intersection of Hanley Industrial Court and Bernard Drive. This project is related to another pedestrian improvement project located along the northern edge of Hanley Industrial Complex. That was the Surface Transportation Project 5577629. Cost of that was $830,000. That project added a pedestrian pathway from Brentwood Promenade near the Metrolink station and the bus loop there to Memorial Park, and added a sidewalk along the most northern Hanley Industrial Court Street, which is used sometimes. This proposed project would expand the sidewalk system within the complex and be similar in scope and purpose.
Okay, any questions? Alderman Lay?
Did we get the ability to incorporate the extra 2 lightings that they were talking about wanting to put in on this? Or are those still going to be, a
That's a
standalone?
different project.
That's
a
the project
Litzinger.
that was finished earlier on this year. We're still working on that.
So it's not in this bill yet?
It's not in this.
Okay.
It is,
It's not
Public
this.
Works discussed it, and it is at a cost. So we wanted to see whether the lights that have been put in will be sufficient before we.
Which 2 lights? I'm sorry, I'm
By
confused.
Ice Cream Specialties.
Yes.
2 new poles requested.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I thought you meant the 2 that they were requesting on Litzinger.
No,
to Lewis
that's a
Park.
different one.
Okay,
Okay.
my mistake, sorry.
So those will probably still be a standalone at a later
Right,
date.
right.
Thank you.
Okay. Alderwoman Saunders?
I have a question. First of all, on page 4 of the agreement, or the bill, the acquisition of right-of-way. It says, however, upon written request by the city and the written acceptance by the commission shall acquire right-of-way for the city. So will we have the commission do the right-of-way acquisition for us?
The city does that.
Okay, but can we ask, since this is in here, for the commission to do the right-of-way for us?
I believe this is a form contract that MoDOT uses.
Right.
and requires that you adhere to their contract. They have the procedure set up, and
Well, I mean, MoDOT is the commission.
Right.
In my experience, they have never acquired the right-of-way for you. It's part of the budget for
Right.
the cost associated with acquiring the right-of-way. And typically, what we would do is go out for a right-of-way consultant
Right, I
to
know
help
we've
the
gone like
city.
with that OR colon or.
We're doing, exactly. We're doing
We
that
have
on
to,
Litzinger.
because these are federal funds, we have to have an
No,
independent
I know we
right
have
away.
to, I'm
Right.
just wondering if we could explore this option, because I know we've had, sizable right-of-way payments in the past, and I know we used that as an OR colon or some kind of name like that for the last acquisition. Could we investigate this option? Since it's in the contract, if they do that, if they provide it, it might be more economical?
No,
We'd
it's-
still
it's-
have to pay the same amount, whether they did it or we did it.
And you still
No,
have to have.
you don't think that they negotiate, all the
No.
negotiators negotiate the same?
They do,
Right. MoDOT, if they're doing a project, they would put this out to bid for have a right-of-way acquisition.
right. They wouldn't
Okay,
do it themselves.
I just wondered, because it was in the contract and I didn't recall
pretty
reviewing
confident.
that.
It's pretty confident on that. I could, after this is approved, I could still ask the question.
Okay, no, that's fine. I just wanted to ask. It was the first time I had noticed it, so I just wanted to ask if, I didn't know whether they,
They've never done it for,
okay. And then the other question, since 5861 and 62 are related, we were waiting on this so that we got their money shored up.
so that we have their agreement.
Their-
We have their agreement.
Well, their agreement, because it's
Right.
not until the funds are committed, till we've expended a certain
Exactly.
amount of funds. But can I ask, when they say this, what is it in Bill 5861, Section 1?
Well, can we do this bill first?
Well, they're kind of tied in together, because if these agreements aren't correct, that's why we put this one on hold. But it says, commit financial and other resources to the project. What does other resources mean?
Other resources could be the process of the right-of-way acquisition. If we need either a permanent or temporary easement, they would have to commit it, and they would have the option of either donating it for $1, or we would have to pay the appraised value of that right-of-way.
So what we're saying is the right-of-way contribution is able to go towards their 25,000 or the
No, 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 those are two separate things. There's the $25,000 commitment for Pelagic, then there's the $50,000 commitment from Hanley Industrial Court Association. Those are two separate
Okay.
items.
But we don't have any commitment or any sense that they're going to donate their properties. So,
And we can't negotiate that until the process starts.
okay.
That's a conflict.
But, I mean, do we have to put and other resources in there? Can't we just ask for their financial commitment? And, well, we'll wait till we get to that one. Okay.
Okay. Second reading, please.
Second reading, bill number 5796 by title only. An ordinance authorizing an STP urban program agreement with MoDOT relating to the Hanley Industrial Complex Improvements Project and providing for the effective date of this ordinance.
Okay. We have a motion?
Your Honor, motion to perfect Bill 5796 into ordinance form.
And second.
Second, Your Honor.
And a comment, if I could, please. Your
Alderman
Honor.
Kramer?
This is an unbelievably wonderful example of a fantastic public improvement at a huge discount. So thank you so much to our local providers, business and otherwise, and also to the federal government, without which this would not happen.
Mr. Richardson from the Hanley Industrial Court Association is here tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You mean without our tax dollars, this wouldn't happen?
That too.
Good point.
Either way you look at it, it's a huge discount.
No. It's a great project. Roll call, please.
Alderman Harper?
Yes.
Alderman Nguyen? Yes. Alderman Robertson?
Yes.
Alderman Kramer?
Absolutely.
Alderman Toohey?
Yes.
Alderman Leahy?
Yes.
Alderman Manister?
Yes.
Alderwoman Saunders?
Yes.
Bill number 5796 is now ordinance number 4525.
First reading of bill number 5861, please.
First reading, bill number 5861 by title only, an ordinance of the city of Brentwood, Missouri authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to enter into and execute an agreement with Hanley Industrial Court Association and providing for the effective date of this ordinance.
Synopsis, please.
Yes, Your Honor. Bill 5861 for the Hanley Industrial Court Association covers an ordinance authorizing the mayor of our city and/or city administrator to execute an agreement with Hanley Industrial Court Association whereby there's an acknowledgement it will realize substantial benefits as a direct result of the proposed pedestrian improvements to the Hanley Industrial Court roadway. Furthermore, the Hanley Industrial Court Association has indicated its desire to contribute financially to the project as an inducement to the city of Brentwood to accept the financial grant and commit financial and other resources to the project. The amount of the contribution is $50,000.
Alderman Saunders?
The only question is can we just do that as commit financial resources to the project, not and other? Revise it just to be that?
Okay.
Is that acceptable? I'm worried about if other is right away. Those are individual properties. So, and this is the money coming from an association, so we can't assume.
It's all right if we take it out.
Okay, great, thank you.
It's part of the ordinance, it's not the agreement.
Yes, so
That's
we
fine.
would need a motion to.
Oh, well, I mean, I
amend.
guess it's on the agreement then, too, the second
Yeah, it's
page.
No, it is.
1, 2, 3, 4, the fourth whereas.
We'd have to send the agreement back.
I don't think it's going to hurt us to leave that there.
It shouldn't.
It allows us to get more than,
No, it doesn't allow us any more.
I don't think there's a problem with it.
I don't.
Can you explain to me your thinking is getting more, Alderman Kramer?
Well, I think that it allows for, sometimes there can be a verbal assistance, sometimes there can be a goodwill assistance, sometimes there can be, as it says here, there can be other resources to the project. I think everyone's agreed to it, and it doesn't limit us to just the money. It's a win-win-win.
Well, I'm fine if the commit financial is 50,000 and other resources. The other resources aren't going to be counted towards the 50,000 is what I'm trying to clarify.
Frank, do you see a problem in that regard?
Okay, well then can we just insert 50,000 to
Well,
the project?
that's in there.
It's there.
The agreement is that once we have expended the sum of $50,000,
They contribute.
They contribute.
Yeah.
$50,000
Yes.
cash.
That's it, right.
I just want to make sure the
Yeah.
other resources aren't a dollar put
They're not.
in.
No, it says Hanley
They're
Industrial
not.
Port Association shall reimburse the city of Brentwood a sum of $50,000 at such times the city has expended
Expended,
funds
yeah.
of in
Okay.
excess of $50,000.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure, do you know what I mean? That the way you could have to be careful because sometimes other resources, even though they're maybe not exact monetary, you could put a dollar on it and subtract that from the 50,000. That's what I was trying
I
to.
did.
But if you assure me, Frank, that's,
I'm comfortable with the way it's written.
thank you.
Second reading, please.
Second reading, Bill number 5861 by title only, an ordinance of the City of Brentwood, Missouri authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to enter into and execute an agreement with Hanley Industrial Court Association and providing for the effective date of this ordinance.
We have a motion, please.
I will make the motion. Oh,
Motion is made by Alderman Robertson, second by Alderwoman Saunders.
so can I make a comment?
Roll call, please.
Alderman Harper.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I just wanted to thank the Hanley Court. I'm an accountant, so I'm always crossing my Ts and dotting my Is, but I really do appreciate your contribution. I think it's starting to look, really good over there, so thank you.
Roll call.
Alderman Harper. Oh. Alderman Nguyen.
Yes.
Alderman Robertson.
Yes.
Alderman Kramer.
Yes.
Alderman Tui.
Yes.
Alderman Leahy.
Yes.
Alderwoman Bannister.
Yes.
Alderwoman Saunders.
Yes.
Bill number 5861 is now ordinance number 4526.
Thank you. First reading of bill number 5862, please.
First reading, Bill number 5862 by title only, an ordinance of the City of Brentwood, Missouri authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to enter into and execute an agreement with Pelagic LLC and providing for the effective date of this ordinance.
Synopsis, please.
Yes, Your Honor, Bill 5862 for Prelagic. This bill is for an ordinance authorizing the mayor of our city and/or city administrator to execute an agreement with Pelagic whereby there is an acknowledgement to realize substantial benefits as a direct result of the proposed pedestrian improvements to the Hanley Industrial Court roadway. Furthermore, Pelagic has indicated its desire to contribute financially to the project as an inducement to the city of Brentwood to accept the financial grant and commit financial and other resources to the project. The amount of $25,000 has been committed.
Okay. Second reading, please.
Second reading, Bill number 5862 by title only, an ordinance of the City of Brentwood, Missouri authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to enter into and execute an agreement with Pelagic LLC and providing for the effective date of this ordinance.
Motion, Your Honor, to approve Bill 5862 into ordinance form.
And
I'll
second.
second. I'll
Motion is
second.
made by Alderman Leahy, second by Alderwoman Saunders. Roll call, please.
Yes.
Alderman Nguyen.
Yes.
Alderman Robertson.
Yes.
Alderman Kramer.
Yes.
Alderman Tui.
Yes.
Alderman Leahy.
Yes.
Alderwoman Bannister.
Yes.
Alderwoman Saunders.
Yes.
Bill number 5862 is now ordinance number 4527.
Thank you. First reading of bill number 5863, please.
First reading, Bill number 5863 by title only, an ordinance of the City of Brentwood, Missouri authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to enter into and execute an agreement with Will Electronics and providing for the effective date of this ordinance.
Okay. Synopsis, please.
Yes, Your Honor. Bill 5863 for the video monitoring system for the jails covers an ordinance authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to enter into and execute an agreement with Genetrix Stratacast for hosting services, cloud storage services, capital equipment costs, and installation services to upgrade the 5 existing cameras in the City of Brentwood's holding facility and the video, that's jail holding facility. This expense and others related to this transition to the ECDC will be submitted to the ECC Commission as part of the grant reimbursement expense at the conclusion of the transition process. The ECC 911 Commission, prior to its submittal, to make certain we are in compliance with their guidelines. Monthly recurring hosting fees or an operational expense are not eligible for reimbursement. This item per the code is presented to the chair of the Ways and Means Committee and is recommended for approval.
Okay. Any questions? Alderwoman Saunders?
In talking to Bull, one, it seems to me when I look at the remarks comments that we're picking someone kind of based on speed, not necessarily what is best. It's that they can provide this within the transition time frame. And the code would be, if the bid's 10,000 or more, it would be an RFP. Even the one that we're looking at, if we add the options, we're over the $10,000 mark. So do we need to do that? And then also, Alderman Kramer, why does it just go to the Chair of Ways and Means?
I have an answer. Robin, you may want to respond first to the previous questions.
Sure. As far as selecting based on timeframes only, I just wanted to let you know that I did spend a lot of time and effort in researching what options were available to us separate from what ECDC, Webster Groves, any of the other agencies were looking at. And in doing so, I looked at locally hosted systems where we would have the servers here at the city, as well as cloud solutions where the servers are in the internet. And the cloud solutions allowed us to do an expedited install, which was important with this critical time frame that we have. And what was a pleasant surprise, after Genetec started to stand out, the Stratocast system, it's hosted in the cloud. It's actually hosted in the Microsoft Azure data centers. So I attended a meeting with the other agencies solely to discuss the video systems for the monitoring at ECDC, and found out that Webster Groves had been through a full bid process, and they had selected Will Electronics as well, which was, I felt, a good sign that we were all on the same page. It went with what ECDC wanted as well, and we are also able to meet that very strict time frame to do the migration for the dispatch center.
Let me ask you a follow-up. Bull, I misunderstood. I thought Webster Groves wasn't going to be doing their RFP,
They already did it.
but they already did it.
Yes.
Okay, I thought you said we didn't know when in the future.
We didn't know when they're going to take it to their city council to execute
Okay,
that
but they did go
already
ahead.
selected.
Okay, well, that makes me feel better that they had done that. And again, like you keep saying, though, the strict time frame, I understand the time frame to move over there, but we could keep somebody over in the building with our current system, to monitor, overnight, somebody could be in there just sitting in the room, monitoring the cameras that we have, since we're not going to be using those cameras anyway, if there's a better solution by waiting a little longer. Do you see what I mean? Because we're going to be saving money, but I don't want to adhere to a strict time frame just to say, Yahoo, we did it all and it's done June 1st. Since we have cameras and we can monitor there, it would just require, like we do, we have one overnight dispatcher, somebody in that room for a little bit longer. So there's another one from Will Electronics. Is that $13,000 system any better?
It is the exact same system, except the servers would be located in the server room at the police department versus the cloud solution is the Microsoft Azure data center. Other than that, it's the same cameras, the same software, everything is the same. And if it helps to set your mind at ease, since it is the exact same system, and we are talking about Microsoft data centers, I don't think that we could do better than that, no matter how much time we allow.
But do you know, is Webster leaning towards a server-based system or a cloud-based system?
Webster Groves is actually looking at having their own servers in their facility, but they are looking at a citywide rollout. And that was another reason that I felt comfortable in coming to you with the hosted solution. We do have plans in our 5-year infrastructure refresh to review video and access security systems citywide over the 5 years. And I think it's beginning in like FY 16, 17. But there's a lot of research and homework that needs to go into that. And we need our servers and storage, the items that you had approved in this year's budget. We really need that first. So this allowed us to maintain our flexibility, meet the current need, but we don't have a huge upfront capital investment that then in FY 16, if this doesn't fit what we wanted citywide, we don't have to forklift it and buy everything new.
But if it does, then we can easily, if we find that we want our own servers, continue with the software, everything that we have, and just get the servers then. So we
Exactly.
could upgrade to that bigger or
Right.
similar to Webster. I also had talked to Bull, and I know you may not have gotten a chance, but there's some software that Webster has in their cars that the other ECDC police departments don't have.
It's called a global CAD.
That was it, global.
Client.
Right. And did they purchase that themselves? or-
I didn't ask the question, I just asked what type of software it is, and the response was Global CAD Mobile Client, which allows the unit, which would be the vehicle, to place itself out of service.
Right, okay. And I think that was just something, that's on another thing, but I didn't know if it was related to this. But my thing was, and putting money in the reserves, for the difference of what we're saving, was possibly if that software helps the policemen and we could get it sooner, it would be nice.
Actually, if the police department were to decide that that is something that is needed, it could easily be put in the capital improvement plan, because it would be funded out of that and not the general fund.
Okay, but I was just saying if the reserves from the savings were there for the transition, but that's a discussion at Ways and Means.
Yeah,
I
that's
understand.
general fund.
I understand. Okay. And are we following the code by not going out with an RFP?
I quote the code, section 2-458, open market purchase, authorizes the purchasing agent, which is the city administrator, may, without prior authority, to acquire in the open market all goods and services with a value of less than $10,000.
Thank you.
Formal bids are not required.
Okay, so even with the options, if we go with those, are we still okay with this 9974?
Yes, we are, it's under 10,000.
Thank you.
Your Honor.
Alderman Lee.
Robin, one question that I have. Since we are going to the video monitoring and stuff, what precautions does the city take to assure the privacy of this monitoring and that it doesn't end up being out on YouTube or anything like this, somebody hacking in or get to it?
Well, it will be stored and archived in the Microsoft Azure Data Center, which has a great reputation. ECDC and Regis have both, I ran this past both of those agencies, and they were fine, and it meets all of their requirements.
Okay. Thank you.
Second reading, please.
Oh, we have
I'm
one more
sorry.
question.
Alderman
Sorry.
Saunders.
Can you tell me what are these options, option 1 and 2 that says to initial on the agreement?
Okay, there are actually almost 3 separate ones. The Enhanced System Protection Plan at $75 a month, that was something that I did not feel was necessary. Since we are going to have this system hosted in the cloud, there is very little risk to us. I don't feel that it would be worth our money to
Okay.
spend $75 a month on that, so that was not included. I did confirm we have enough ports on our existing PoE switch to absorb the cameras, so there's no need to purchase option 1. And then option number 2 was to install a separate sort of camera, and that was not necessary either. When they came and did a site visit and they saw the holding cells, the basic cameras that were included with the front page of the quote in the 9,974 were sufficient.
Okay, so we're not accepting those then?
Right,
Okay,
those
then I'm
did
fine
not-
with the
those are not
10,000.
included at all.
I didn't know if we were going to initial them. Okay, great, thank you.
Alderman Kramer.
Yes, Your Honor, just a couple of notes. First, to respond to Alderwoman Saunders' question. The reason why this came to my desk is that there was some expediency necessary for this particular bill and the topic of discussion. Since the Ways and Means Committee has been unable to have we haven't had a complete meeting for a little while. Our last meeting was cut short. Haven't been able to schedule a meeting. And I think BOLA felt up against the timeline that it was appropriate to have the discussion. I received a phone call, received all the documentation, reviewed all of them, asked questions, spoke to both BOLA and Robin on a conference call, and agreed with the recommendation of the hosted versus the local proposal and the amount of the $99.74.74. And by the way, there are 2 bills. The one that has the 2 sections labeled Section 1 and Section 3 is the one that we would be using tonight. The Section 1, 2, and 3 bill is an error.
Okay, so let me skip that, right.
Second reading, please.
Second reading bill number 5863 by title only, An ordinance of the City of Brentwood, Missouri authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to enter into and execute an agreement with Will Electronics and providing for the effective date of this ordinance.
Okay. Motion?
Wait a minute, Your Honor, if
No,
I
I'm
may
sorry.
ask. Alderman Kramer, can you re-clarify the two
Yes.
bills? Because I'm now confused. I
You've got
thought we'd
one
agreed
Bill
that they
58
weren't.
You've got one Bill 5863 that has a Section 1 and a Section 3. Mm-hmm. You've got another bill that has a Section 1, 2, and 3. The bill that has Section 1, 2, and 3, of course, which speaks to Hanley Industrial Court pedestrian improvements, is not the correct bill.
We don't have that bill.
Some
Yeah,
of
I
you may
do.
have to.
Okay, I've got 2 copies, but 2 copies of the same.
No, no.
They may look the
Section
same.
1, Section 3.
But they're not.
Section 1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
This bill is
I see on the
obsolete.
bill.
This is the
You
bill
want
that
the one
we're
that says
actually
Section
working
1
with.
and Section 3 only.
Yes, okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, wait a minute.
That was my earlier question. You told me there was no difference. Okay.
Attachment is Exhibit A. What is the
Do we
exhibit?
have a motion, please?
Motion to approve Bill 5863 into ordinance form.
Second, Your Honor.
Thank you. Alderman Sanders?
The dollar amount's not specified, so how do we know that we're not accepting the options? That's just what I
It
want
is in the
to know.
attachment.
Exhibit A.
Okay, but, well, Exhibit A, I didn't know if it included the back page of Exhibit A, because it's all
No.
the same sheet.
Well, the front page, got it.
The total amount is $9,974.74.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
as long as that's, do you understand what I'm saying? Because the back page with the options is still part of Exhibit A.
Yep, the front page, Bill, page 1 of 4 of the exhibit is the one that's got the total, and that's all that we're authorizing.
Right.
Okay?
Roll call, please.
Alderman Harper?
Yes.
Alderman Nguyen?
Yes.
Alderman Robertson?
Yes.
Alderman Kramer?
Yes.
Alderman Tui?
Yes.
Alderman Leahy?
Yes.
Alderman Manister?
Yes.
Alderwoman Saunders?
Yes.
Bill number 5863 is now ordinance number 4528.
Okay. Bill number 5864, actually, I'm going to recuse myself from any discussion of this bill because this business became a customer of the bank about 6 months ago. So I'm going to step out while we discuss that.
Okay.
Thank you.
No, no. He's mayor pro tem.
He told, he motioned me over. I'm happy
You
to
are
do
the
it.
Alderman Nguyen.
I don't mind.
Go ahead.
I've been here long enough. Already. And I don't get very fast.
All comes out the same.
I just wanted to say this, that the mayor speaks for staff and so does Bola, but I am an alderman, so any questions you have, I will refer to Bola so that can be representative of the staff, okay? But glass is about ready to break here. Do we have somebody, first reading? Let's have the first reading of Bill 5864.
First reading, Bill number 5864 by title only, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to execute an agreement between the City of Brentwood, Missouri and Gateway Fireworks Displays, Inc. for the 2014 Madden Fest fireworks display at Brentwood Park and providing for the effective date of this ordinance.
Okay, Tom, you want to read the,
Yes, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem.
oh,
It was my pleasure. Bill 5864, the synopsis is almost as similar to the title of the bill, fireworks display for the City of Brentwood's annual Madden Fest Festival. Covers the ordinance authorizing the mayor of our city and/or city administrator to execute an agreement, and that is between the City of Brentwood and Gateway Fireworks Displays Incorporated, subject of an earlier bid proposal for the 2014 Madden Fest fireworks display at our very own Brentwood Park.
well then.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
make amendment to...
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem.
Pro Tem.
Okay.
Would like to amend the bill as it,
All right.
in the title, it uses the 2013 Madden Fest display. That should be 2014 display. So if I can make a motion to amend that?
Second.
Second, okay, we have first and a second. Any discussion? Let's have a roll call on the amendment to the bill.
Alderman Harper?
Yes.
Alderman Robertson?
Yes.
Alderman Kramer?
Yes.
Alderman Tui?
Yes.
Alderman Leahy?
Yes.
Alderwoman Manister?
Yes.
Alderwoman Saunders?
Yes.
Okay.
Alderman Nguyen.
Yes, I thought I got to vote. Didn't think I lost
Still get to
that.
vote.
Yep.
Okay.
Second reading.
Second, any more questions before we go to the second reading? Second reading.
Second reading, Bill number 5864 by title only, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to execute an agreement between the city of Brentwood, Missouri and Gateway Fireworks Displays, Inc. for the 2014 Madden Fest fireworks display at Brentwood Park and providing for the effective date of this ordinance.
Can I?
Yes.
I just want to clarify for the audience, even though this goes out to 2016, it's as the funds are appropriated. So each year, we have to still appropriate the funds, so it's not like we're locked in. So just so that the audience knew.
Any other?
And I'll make a motion that we perfect Bill 5864 into ordinance form. As amended.
As amended.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay. Roll call.
Alderman Harper.
Yes.
Alderman Robertson.
Yes.
Alderman Kramer.
Yes.
Alderman Tui.
Yes.
Alderman Leahy.
Yes.
Alderman Manister.
Yes.
Alderwoman Saunders.
Yes.
Oh, Alderman Ware.
Yes.
Bill number 5864 is now ordinance number 4529.
I just wanted to say one little thing before I give up the mic, and that is, no, it has nothing to do with the mayor. I'll never forget a few years ago being at the park when they were having Madden Fest, which we call it now. And I think I've said this before, but I think about it a lot. A mother with 2 young children were coming to watch the fireworks and be at the picnic and everything. And it didn't look like they had a whole lot. And I got to thinking, Brentwood's the only place in the county where you can go and you can go free and you can ride the rides free and you can, and all of it, you can have a day. And that mother had a little basket, and I thought, she brought some food along. Those kids are going to have a great day. And I'm glad to be part of a city that thinks ahead that much and thinks that much of kids. Thank you.
Here, here, Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
Like those
There, you
glasses.
can have it back.
How much fun the rest of the meeting?
It's not bad. It's not getting that bad being mayor for a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
Like taking the kids out for a little while and you bring them back.
I know, you took my agenda, though.
Oh. Well, I'm sorry. Pick it out. I just leave it. All right.
You won't have to start over again. All right, first reading of Bill number 65, please.
First reading, Bill number 5865 by title only, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to enter into and execute an agreement between the city of Brentwood, Missouri and Zumwalt Corporation for garage door maintenance services and providing for the effective date of this ordinance.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes.
Okay.
Synopsis,
Just to
please.
note that on your synopses, the number is wrong, but the bill appears to be correct. Bill 5865 for the routine preventative maintenance and inspection of garage door services at our city facilities. Bill covers an ordinance authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to enter into an agreement between the city and Zumwalt Corporation, and that's for the garage door maintenance services going forward.
Any questions? Second reading, please.
Second reading, Bill number 5865 by title only, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to enter into and execute an agreement between the city of Brentwood, Missouri and Zumwalt Corporation for garage door maintenance services and providing for the effective date of this ordinance.
Okay, any questions? Your motion, please,
Revised. Move for adoption, Your Honor.
and second.
Second, Your Honor.
We got a first and second. Roll call, please.
Alderman Harper.
Yes.
Alderman Nguyen.
Yes.
Alderman Robertson.
Yes.
Alderman Kramer.
Yes.
Alderman Tui.
Yes.
Alderman Leahy.
Yes.
Alderwoman Manister.
Yes.
Alderwoman Saunders.
Yes.
Bill number 5865 is now ordinance number 4530.
Thank you. Next item, Resolution 1006. Synopsis, please.
Yes, Your Honor. The resolution spells out a description of music on the menu concert series for Brentwood Park. Resolution covers the consumption of beer, wine, and/or other liquors provided for in Section 3.3.1 of the Brentwood Municipal Code, which allows the Board of Aldermen to approve consumption of intoxicating liquors on special occasions. the Brentwood Parks and Recreation and West Community Credit Union are presenting the Music on the Menu concert series at Brentwood Park, June 13th, July 11th, and August 8th. That's a fat-free concert series from 5 p.m. until 9:30 each evening. The Public Works Committee recommends approval.
Okay. Any questions? We have a motion, please?
Motion to perfect Resolution 1006.
Second?
Second.
We have first and second. Roll call, please.
Alderman Harper.
Yes.
Alderman Nguyen.
Yes.
Alderman Robertson.
Yes.
Alderman Kramer.
Yes.
Alderman Tully.
Yes.
Alderman Leahy.
Yes.
Alderman Bannister.
Yes.
Alderwoman Saunders.
Yes.
Thank you. Resolution 1007, please. Synopsis?
Yes, Your Honor. The Veterans Day Observance and Annual Holiday Open House is a resolution for the consumption of beer, wine, as provided for in Section 3.3.1 of the Brent Municipal Code, the City of Brentwood's municipal code that allows the Board of Aldermen to approve consumption of intoxicating liquors on special occasions. For example, the Veterans Day observance to be held Monday, November 10th, 2014, starting at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and that's at the Brentwood City Hall, and at the annual holiday open house to be held Monday, December 8th, 2014, starting at 5 p.m. at the Brentwood Recreation Center. Public Works Committee has recommended approval of Resolution 1007.
Okay.
Question, Your Honor.
Alderman Leahy?
Do we run into any OSHA issues because we're starting at 2 p.m. while we're still in the workday?
It's a holiday.
But does OSHA thing?
It's a holiday, and the only reason we put 2 o'clock is we're not sure if we'll start earlier in the day.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. We have a motion, please?
Motion to approve Resolution 1007.
And second? We have first and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Resolution 1008, please.
Your Honor, the resolution calls for Brentwood's annual Madden Fest, formerly known as Brentwood Days, and allows for the consumption of beer, wine, and other liquors provided for in Section 3.3.1 of the Brentwood Municipal Code that allows the Board of Aldermen to approve consumption of intoxicating liquors on special occasions. The Brentwood Parks and Recreation Department is hosting Brentwood's annual Madden Fest, formerly known as Brentwood Days, in the Brentwood Park. Beer, wine, and other liquors will be allowed on Friday, September 19th, 2014, from 5 in the evening until 10 p.m., and Saturday, September 20th, 2014, from 12 noon until 10 p.m. Public Works Committee has recommended approval of Resolution 1008.
Okay. Motion, please?
Motion to approve Resolution 1008.
Second, Your Honor.
We have first and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Next item, Resolution 1009. Synopsis?
Yes, Your Honor. Calls for a dinner and a movie series at Brentwood Park. Resolution is for the consumption of beer, wine, and liquor provided for in Section 3.3.1 of the Brentwood Municipal Code. Allows for the Board of Aldermen to approve consumption of intoxicating liquors on special occasions. Beer, wine, and other liquors will be allowed at the dinner and a movie series at Brentwood Park on August 23rd, September 13th, and October 4th from 5 p.m. until 9:30 p.m. each evening. Once again, our Public Works Committee has reviewed and recommended approval of Resolution 1009.
Thank you. Alderman Saunders?
I just wanted to mention, this is where we'll be having the food trucks. And are we also going to be doing it with the music, music on the menu? Just, we had passed that temporary to try it out for 6 months, and the food trucks will be present, so it'll be kind of fun for the residents, something new.
Alderman Harper?
The times are different on the resolution.
Okay.
It's 6 to 10 on the actual resolution, and what we voted on was 5 to 9:30.
I didn't get a copy of it, I don't know.
Got, I don't have 9,
It was
actually.
not in the
Dinner
packet.
and
I
a
did
movie,
not see
6
it.
to 10.
Yeah, it's 6 to 10 on mine.
It's, Alderman Harper's correct. In the bill, it is 6 to 10. In the synopsis, it is 5 to 9:30.
Yep.
The times do not agree. The bill, or the
It should be
resolution,
6 to 10.
is the 6 to 10. That's the one that holds.
That's the
Okay.
one that counts.
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody okay with that?
Do we want the different, I mean, is that what we wanted?
6 to
different-
10, yes.
Okay, it was 5:30 to 9:30 on the,
Synopsis, right?
on the music, though, one. Do we want these different time frames?
That's what was presented at Public Works.
Okay.
Music on
That's
the menu
correct,
is
right.
5:30
I just wanted to make sure.
9:30.
6 to 10?
Dinner and
Yeah.
a movie, 6 to 10. Brentwood's annual Manifest, 5 to 10 on Friday, 12 to 10 on Saturday. Veterans Day, 2 to 5. Annual holiday open house, 5 to 11.
Okay. Motion to approve Resolution 1009.
So moved, Your Honor.
As amended or no?
It's not amended.
Oh,
No.
okay.
The resolution is written correctly.
Okay. I don't have a
Just the
copy of that. I don't know.
synopsis.
Second?
Second.
I'll second that.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Next item, counts against the city.
Your Honor, you have before you the warrant list in the amount of $74,986.95, of which a pass-through, $21,880. And I'd like to make a recommendation for approval of the warrant list in that amount.
Any questions? Or do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, any questions? All in favor of approving the warrant list as submitted, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Next item, reports of committee and department heads. Under the mayor's report, first of all, I just want to wish Kevin McCarthy happy birthday. Today's his birthday. So. Happy birthday. And this is just where you wanted to be on your birthday, right? Yes, sir. That's right, okay. Next item, just a little bit of follow-up to our last meeting. I made a recommendation to appoint interim chief Dan Fitzgerald as the permanent police chief for the Brentwood our police department. And I still am strong on that recommendation. I think some questions, people said that they needed to get more information, but in the past 2 weeks, the only alderman that's contacted me to discuss this a little bit, or my rationale for that, was Alderman Robertson. Maybe I should have pointed out a couple of my reasons at the last meeting. For those of you that aren't aware, 5 years ago when Steve Despennett was appointed chief, we went through a very expensive process with this Missouri Police Chiefs Association, and it cost the city about $10,000. There were over 60 applicants originally applying for the position to be the chief. When it got whittled down, Dan was included in he made it down to the last cut, as well as Chief Despennett, who was finally selected. Since then, Dan has served as the assistant police chief for the city of Brentwood. He has also completed the FBI Academy. He's got 5 more years of experience under his belt. And I think, in my opinion, and it's still my recommendation, that Dan be appointed and given the opportunity to serve as the Brentwood Police Chief. Alderwoman Saunders.
I just, as far as not contacting you, I apologize. I should have done that. I did contact BOLA this morning because I assumed that it was going to be discussed at the public safety meeting on Thursday, and I couldn't attend with it being Holy Thursday, so I'm not certain why that wasn't brought up at public safety, what the process or what you felt the next step should be.
As the chairman, we felt like... Oh, sorry. First of all our members weren't there. We had one missing, but I felt like we were discussing at the board level, and so I left it there.
Okay, thank you.
Alderman Kramer.
Yes, Your Honor. The reason why I didn't contact you is because well, once again, I'll repeat, I think the gentleman is a fine employee, and I've come to know him a good amount since I've been on board. But I got the impression, Your Honor, from the communication we got from you, that we would have a process based upon our last meeting, and that there would be some sort of a community leaders and/or some sort of an interview process. We've got, a pretty good amount of admonition from our state auditors that it's a good idea whenever possible for us to follow processes, even if I understand you may think it's time not well spent, but if it in fact leads back to the same road which you choose or hope for, there's no harm, no foul. In the meantime, I think that the residents are looking forward to us to follow the protocol that normally would be followed for selection that we have in our own city, the precedent for selection of it's an important position. It's not a Ways and Means Committee nomination. It's not a library board. This is a key pivotal role for our city. And once again, with all due respect to the gentleman who's provided service to our city for, I don't know the number of years, probably a good number. I think we owe it to the process that's been placed before us from our state auditors to take a look at going through that process and see where it leads us. Thank you.
Okay, well, again, at the last meeting, I think what was discussed is that we had talked about doing a process, but when I started reviewing it, thinking of the direction that I thought I wanted to go, because this is an appointed position by our state code and state statute, it's a recommendation of the mayor with approval of the majority of the Board of Aldermen. And I didn't see any reason why or that it would be fair to solicit other people, have them come in and interview for a job where I've already feel that we have a candidate who deserves the opportunity to try to lead our Brentwood Police Department and would still be my selection at the end of that process. So I will tell you the only comment I've heard from residents in the last 2 weeks is, why didn't the board appoint Dan Fitzgerald as a police chief? This is, again, a recommendation. The process is to be a recommendation of the mayor and with approval of the Board of Aldermen. And I don't think that has anything to do with our state audit. And that's my opinion.
I want to add to that. There are a lot of decisions we make here as a board that are not necessarily in our wheelhouse of skill sets. Something we talked about with the handbook, I remember this comment being coming up. The reason the board stays out of employee personnel is that we don't know what makes a great firefighter. We don't know what makes a great police officer. So that's why we let our professionals do that and kind of try and stay on that as a board. So I don't see what harm it would be to go out and get a group of professionals, like when we make a legal decision or, the handbook is an example of that. We hired attorneys to help us write that. Why we wouldn't want to get people familiar with law enforcement and get their opinion as far as what's the best process.
Well, again, we did that 5 or 6 years ago. Dan was still one of the final candidates in that process when we selected Steve Bennett, and it cost the city $10,000. At the end of that process, it's still going to be the recommendation of the mayor and for that appointment. And if you guys don't want to, if nobody wants to make a motion again, that's fine, but it will be my stance at the next meeting as well. So.
Your Honor.
Alderman Lee.
Just for clarification, if I may.
Sure.
5.5 years ago, when we did use the Police Chiefs Association for the review process and the selection to come down with their final recommendations, it is my understanding that you had made a commitment that any Brentwood police officer who applied for the chief's position at that time would automatically make it to the final round. And I'm under the understanding that both Mr. Bennett and Mr. Fitzgerald became finalists because of that promise and not by the Police Chiefs Association selection process. Did I misunderstand the process then?
Yes, you did, because the top, Dan was not one of the top 3, but he was, I think, out of the 60-plus applicants, he was number 12 at that time. So for the final position, he wasn't one of the 3 that I interviewed.
I'd just like to say that I did speak out, I guess, against the move at the last meeting, and then I did contact the mayor and ask him about his rationale. And after listening to him and conversing with him about it, and then thinking about it some more, I'd like to recommend approval of the recommendation of the mayor. I think it will be a good move for the city of Brentwood, and I don't see any reason to go through such a long and expensive process as we did last time. I didn't know at the time that Acting Chief Fitzgerald had placed so high at that point. I had no idea, because we really didn't. We had sort of a black box process where nobody, including the mayor, was allowed to get inside that process with the police chiefs. So to say that he had his fingers all over is incorrect. That's not how it worked. So I was glad to know what the mayor told me about the placement after the fact. And I do want to make that recommendation.
I'll second it.
Well, you want to say one?
Go ahead.
Okay. Any other
Either way.
discussion?
Pick one.
Alderman Lee?
Can you, at this time, upon this selection being on the table, can you advise who you would be selecting for the Assistant Police Chief position to fill that, or will that be a position filled by the new chief?
Well, technically by code, it is a position that is appointed by the police chief. But I have talked to Dan about that, and he is in agreement with that I don't want to say it now because I don't know whether it'd be good to say it now or not because I don't want that to be the basis of Dan's selection.
The question that I was asked, Your Honor, by public to me is there a potential conflict of interest if you're picking people from inside the police department to
I
move
do
up?
not think
and
that
that's
there's a-
promotion. But the dilemma is could it be perceived that certain actions are taken when things may not be, let's just say, as transparent as everybody would like it? Question, if we're making and looking for filling positions, would it be permissible to understand how you would like the chain of command to be in the police department and who would be filling those positions?
Okay. Well, my recommendation would be to appoint Jim McIntyre as the assistant chief. Jim's been with the department for a number of years. He's been head of the Detective Bureau, managed that department for, I think, 5 years. He's got good management skills, understanding of the processes of the department, and so that was going to be my recommendation for the assistant chief position.
Now we all know.
Okay.
I just have a question about the legal process. So I don't know, Frank, whether to ask you or it'd be McMahon Berger. As far as, you make an appointment, but again, it's still an employee issue. And I remember with Alderman Toohey, the employee manual was to take us out of those decisions so that they didn't come back for exactly, that kind of situation. But what I really want to know is, he always guides us as far as whether we're setting precedents or something that may be construed differently. Did we consult with McMahon Berger? That's what I want to know.
I don't know that anybody consulted with them or not, but the appointment of the police chief is by state law and by our ordinance an appointment to be made by the mayor. I believe they are also considered to be a department head. So I don't think it's a matter that...
It's not a person, it's an appointment,
Yeah.
right?
I don't think it's a matter that would require any consultation with McMahon Berger.
Well, I know legally it doesn't, but, there's some situations too that when we're discussing him, he'll say what's advisable, what creates liability, what creates risk.
I would like to add to that. I guess my fear would be, what if later down the line, for another appointment position, we decide to go outside and actually vet the position? Could someone then come back to us for discrimination? That, hey, in this situation, you didn't do anything to vet the person. In another situation, now you're taking all these steps to make sure the person's qualified.
I don't believe that's true. If it's an appointment of a position by statute is vested in the mayor.
You don't think there's any fear that we're now setting a standard of we're not going to vet the appointed positions?
And
then
I'm not
later we
sure
could-
exactly what you mean by setting a standard. It's up to the mayor, it's up to the board to decide the process by which these
Appointments,
appointments
right.
should be made.
Okay.
Your Honor, if I may ask for a point of order in a ruling for Robert's Rules of Order, please, prior to any vote being cast. It is my understanding, under both state statute and our municipal code, that we're looking to do a vote on an appointment, which requires the mayor's appointment and a majority of the Board of Aldermen to pass the appointment. In the case that this would be a 4-4 tie, since it's a mayoral appointment, it is my understanding of Robert's Rules of Order, the mayor does not cast a break tie in this case, because it would require a 5-member of the Board of Aldermen to be an approved appointment. Am I reading Robert's Rules of Order correctly?
I have not been asked that question before tonight, and I frankly would have to look at Robert's Rules of Order to verify it, but I'm going to qualify and say I would have to sit down and look at Robert's Rules of Order to address that specific question.
Excuse me.
Okay.
I have a
Well, I'll
question.
call for the roll call.
Can I ask for a question?
Sure.
what I wanted to say is I have some personnel questions, which I'm sure that will come through flying colors. But you can't ask those out here. And if you don't vet a person, then you really haven't done your job. And if I don't even ask them, but I can't ask them here because they're personnel issues. Not that I'm saying anything specific to him, but anything specific to any employee, you would still look at their personnel file. And you can't do that.
We would never look at anybody's file. I've never looked at any employee's personnel file.
Well, I guess that would get back to my question about doing the vetting process as far as what criteria we use to base this on. This is a pretty serious position. None of us on the board
I think his years of
have
dedication
expertise.
and his reputation within our community is what I'm basing my recommendation on. You know, here's what it comes down to. We had a motion and a second. You guys can vote. If you want to vote no, vote no. We can talk about it again on the next meeting. So is that okay? Anthony, did you want to say something?
No, I'll vote.
Okay. Roll call.
Alderman Harper?
Yes.
Alderman Nguyen?
Yes.
Alderman Robertson?
Yes.
Alderman Kramer?
No.
Alderman Tui?
No.
Alderman Leahy?
No.
Alderwoman Bannister?
Yes.
Alderwoman Saunders?
No.
Okay. I will cast my vote as yes, and then you can verify that. And if there's a problem, then we can talk about it again next meeting. Okay. Again, I think I had talked to Officer Fitzgerald about the recommendation with the assistant chief, and he is good with that, with Jim McIntyre serving in that position. And I think if this moves forward, then he will make that appointment. I don't think we need to make that recommendation, do we? We don't have to vote on that, right? Okay. Okay. That's all. One other thing under my mayor's report, I hope that, does the board get the full updates from Municipal League on some of this legislation? Are you guys getting those weekly updates?
We don't always have time to read them all, but we get them.
Well, the big one, again, is the state statute, or passed the House, it's in the Senate now, which would allow restaurants and grocery stores to not pay sales tax on their utilities because they're trying to classify them as food processors, like major corporations, like Tesson Farms or whoever, Tesson Meats that processes meat. So, but again, that impact would have a huge impact on the city, on all municipalities from a revenue standpoint. One of the things that the House sponsor of the bill was saying, it was double taxation to the restaurants and grocery stores, which is not true. It's not double taxation. They pay taxes for the utilities. They collect taxes for the food they sell. So they're not paying twice. These are the kinds of things that I think we really need to pay attention and watch at the state level. There's a number of other bills that came out last Friday. I hope you will take the time to do it. And if you have a few minutes right now with this bill specifically, send a note to your state senators, in opposition to this bill that, again, they keep eroding away the tax bases of the school districts and the municipalities little by little, and making it more difficult for us to operate. So anyway, just a commentary. Alderman Leahy.
In the past practices, if you just copy and paste what you get from the Municipal League from those different bills, listing the oppose and support, and send it to Mrs. Gibbons, Mittens, thank you, and Senator Scott, so that they at least get it. They do respond, and they do pay attention to what the Municipal League and the members do give them. That's the extent, but those emails do help them make decisions.
It does make a difference. It is important. So, okay. That's all I have under my report. Public Works Committee?
Well, no comment. Or
No
nothing,
report.
Your Honor.
Director of Planning, anything further?
One quick update that was in the weekly report. We did receive the annual special use permit for Bed Bath & Beyond. That has come in again for the storage trailers that go behind the building at the Brentwood Promenade. So if there aren't any objections to it, staff would bring that, or would approve that permit. If there is discussion, we would bring that forward.
Okay.
This is when we start needing to talk about the brewery finished and then looking out and then well, this was Mr. Geppert, and I'm not saying I want you to educate me, but I approved it before because I can understand why they need those things. But then after we approved it, he came to the podium and said, when the brewery's finished, the people in those hotel rooms are going to be looking out on a bunch of storage bins. And then Alderman Leahy has always brought up that we're not consistent with what we do with Walgreens. Just clarify, what do we need to do in the way of precedents, and is this an issue for the brewery?
I'm not going to make an issue until somebody brings it to our attention. They're temporary. It is adds a huge amount of volume to that store. It is temporary. And the issue with Walgreens was, again, it much more of an involved story, but one, they wanted to keep them there longer. They had also committed, after being approved, that they were going to build a permanent facility there, and then didn't do it. So that's why we've rejected them after that, because they made a promise to the city and then backed out on it. This is just a seasonal operation, so when college students come in, they can place their orders and have them ready for them to come in and pick them up, is the way that works. It's just a decision the board has to make.
I'm fine with that.
Right.
I mean, as long as we just, like you say, though, if there's time constraints, like, how you specified, like with Walgreens, there's a deadline, and if they don't meet that, we can have them removed. And I don't know whether you wanted to specify what type of containers. I don't know. I don't know anything about containers. I don't know if they're ugly or some are more sightly or some are more.
They're all ugly. Yeah.
And I guess just.
But I mean, just so that there's some guidelines, so that everyone knows that after a certain time frame they have to leave.
And that is all on the permit and the approval.
Okay.
It has specified how long it would be out there. I was also fortunate enough to go up in the brewery last week.
Oh, good.
And I made a point, because this had showed up, to take a look at this and see what the difference would be. It's currently, like the Target side of it, it's their loading dock. So there are, like last week when I was up there were 2 semis that had backed in and the trailers were back there. So would it add a little bit of clutter? Certainly, but it's not a focal point as it exists today. It's kind of the back of the house business side.
Well, personally, to me, if it's not Ocean View, I don't really care that much, or City Set Cape Line.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Honor.
To Alderman Kramer.
Were we going to vote on that, or?
We don't need to.
You said we had to
Right.
wait.
Well, we don't.
Right.
Go ahead.
The only thing, if the board were so inclined to want to take further action, then I would say make a motion and bring that forward. But if there's no concerns, I don't think we would need a motion.
You have the staff can issue the
Exactly.
I have a question for you then. What was the time limit?
It's 100 days.
100 days.
So it's basically the beginning of June until early September.
Did we select that, or they proposed that?
That's what they proposed.
Right now, it's kind of for lack of a better word, it's kind of a joke, the employee parking behind the stores in the promenade that's not being used. So there's certainly plenty of room for these storage containers. As I drove past the location the other day, though, I did notice that there is a beige mini storage container, which is anything but mini, that's been dumped in the grass behind the Target store. It's literally sitting in the mud with no attachment. It's just kind of juxtaposed. I'm assuming that's not already part of the Bed Bath & Beyond. It's kind of a...
I would be inclined to say it's not, given that they've been very good about going through the city's process.
The issue with the Walgreens store was that was fronting a cross-access easement that was used by many Brentwood citizens and business owners, and there was proximity to residential as well in that particular area. And as the mayor mentioned, it was the potential for a longer term. And they reneged on a few things with us. I substantially was more concerned about that one than I am this one, but I do want to make sure we have the time limit on there, and you've given that to us.
Okay. Alderman Saunders.
Sorry, this is a little bit on a different, but since Alderman Kramer, you brought up the employee parking. When the last changes to the addition, the 20,000 square foot, they just wanted to take the end lot and make it 2 stores or 2. You weren't here, and I had brought up that enforcement of the employee parking, and I also believe Sue Lee did too. So if you could check into, or whoever's responsible, to get them to start enforcing, because Target does not use that side lot at all, and the employees aren't adhering to the restrictions, or the tenant, I don't know if the property manager is making sure the employees.
They're not adhering because they're not being told.
Right, so whatever we need to do, we need to get them to enforce that.
Your Honor, we did, and Alderman Saunders, we did talk with, I think it was back when Ellen was still here, about sending them a letter to the landlord.
They agreed to do that, yes.
So that we could remind them of their
We just need to do that
commitment.
on a regular basis.
Okay, could we do that, could we see that? That's done.
Okay.
Your Honor,
Alderman Lee, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I will remain opposed to approving it, but I know I'm in the minority.
Thank you.
To add a little bit to the comments with respect to Drury, I was actually able to go on the tour as well. I think one of the most interesting, one is they're still on schedule to open in July is what they're shooting for. The one really I thought kind of interesting thing with the tour, I mean, it is a building under construction, but floors 2, 3, and 4 all are completely fully furnished already. And they work their way up. So as they finish a floor, they go ahead and furnish them. So it's all the rooms have everything in them except for the TVs, and doors, and then the hallway laminate that they put on there, because they've learned from their experience that they do those things last, because then they don't nick up the walls and the doors when they're moving their furniture in. And to show you that process, the very top floor, they're just finishing drywall. So it's just kind of interesting to see that process and how they're going through that. But they're planning on opening again in July. Bonefish is literally starting construction right now. So, and their hope is to be open by October. So that is moving along, and be a great project for the entire. So. One other item with the plant, you may have noticed that the fountain's been on and off. Jim's been working on that. There was a leak at the meter, which is going to be repaired this week. So they turned the water off, and so when the water gets too low, it doesn't fill automatically now, so it shuts off. As soon as that gets fixed, it'll be back to its regular schedule. But Jim's working on that. So. But that area looks great, especially when the fountain's on, Jim. No, just kidding. So, Ways and Means?
Yes, Your Honor, it is our goal, and we endeavor to attempt to schedule our next meeting on May the 7th or 8th at 5:30 here in the chambers. Hopefully we'll have that sewn up here shortly.
Okay.
Wait a minute.
Alderman Lee?
Are we then not holding the meeting on the 23rd?
We don't have a quorum.
We do not have a quorum for the 23rd.
I apologize. I think Octavia may have sent a memo out. If not, you should get it shortly.
Forgive me, I have not caught current. I've been in and out of the office all last week.
Okay. City Clerk Administrator? I'm sorry, City Attorney?
No report, Your Honor.
City Administrator?
I just wanted to remind the board and residents who will be watching this at home that this weekend at 10 a.m. we will have the grand reopening celebration of the Memorial Park inline rink, and it starts at 10.
Good. Yeah, it looks great. Yeah, they've been putting up the boards finally. Excise Commissioner is not here, but we do have one temporary liquor license for Immerse by Atlas, Business and Handling Industrial Court. Any questions? They have annual, I think it's their employee party, I think is what it is.
Do we need the date on, is that the?
It's on
May the 7th
right
from
4 to 7.
Yeah. Motion to approve the applicant's request.
And second?
Second, Your Honor.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, thank you. Library, anything further?
No report.
Nothing further on Municipal League, Historical Society?
Nothing. No report.
No closed session. Any unfinished business? Any new business?
Your Honor, if I may?
Yes?
The Ward 3 meeting for the month of April will be Tuesday night, the 29th at 7 p.m. here in the conference room. And this meeting will be special because we will be joined by the Ward 1 monthly ward meeting also. So it's open to all who would like to attend. And then I'll yield the floor to Mr. Wynn if he would like to make his announcement on the national prayer.
Yes. It's the first Friday, on a Thursday, 1st of May, we'll have our National Day of Prayer. We have it in here from 12 to 1, and it just make everybody welcome, and we have usually pretty good turnout. Also, St. Mary Magdalene usually brings some of their 4th graders, and if you want to look down on children and see them pray and then realize, boy, I need to improve mine a little bit. They really do some praying. And it's not that, it's just that I believe our nation needs to get back to God. Some may not believe that, but I do. And I think we need to pray. And we need to pray for our president. We need to pray for Congress. We need to pray for us, because we certainly aren't perfect. And so that will happen at 12 noon, and come along and bring somebody with you.
Great. Yeah, that's May 1st, actually, the 1st of May.
And by the way, I want to say this would be my last year as an alderman, as I won't run anymore, so this is my last one coming up.
Well, that doesn't mean you get out of that. So.
I think he was going for mayor there,
No.
being mayor pro tem.
You're going to come every year after that to be thankful you're not an alderman.
I'll just say this, that
You notice he didn't deny it. Sorry, Lee.
no, I just wanted to add, since you added something, that I feel so privileged to be asked to pray for this with that. It's an honor beyond honor.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Alderman Saunders?
I just wanted to thank Alderman Leahy for allowing me to join his meeting.
Alderman Leahy?
To update and to at least let the board know what we're doing, the earlier discussion 2 meetings back was concerning the length of terms for the elected officials. The request that I was pushing for was to go hopefully to a ballot issue with the city of Brentwood and let the residents select the terms, the length of term. We have found out that it is not as easy as we thought it would be to put this back on the ballot. The way the state statute is written leaves it a little confusing, because they wrote it only to extend the terms, not to potentially move them backwards. So we have had to ask for an attorney general of the state of Missouri to give us a declaration as to how best to proceed. The Attorney General cannot do that for a municipality, so we have had to ask our state rep, Gina Mittens, to sponsor a request to the Attorney General's office to help us guide us in this issue, and we are now pending that being done and hopefully to get back to us. I am still trying to make sure, or at least trying to get it, that we can have some type of resolve before the 23rd of August, which would be the last day of filing for something in the November general election ballot. So we're working forward, but unfortunately, we don't have a clear way to make this happen.
Well, what is your direction, or what is the question that you're asking the Attorney General's, or you wanted to ask of the Attorney General's office?
The question that we were asking is whether or not the fourth-class city could put this issue back on the ballot and allow the voters to select a 4, 3, or 2-year term. Unfortunately, the way the state statute reads, that may end up being a referendum, and fourth-class cities can't do referendums. And since the statute doesn't directly relate to how you go backwards in lengths of term, we may end up doing it just simply as an ordinance by the Board of Aldermen. But before we do that, since that too is not clearly spelled out in statute, we are asking for an AG's opinion as to best way to proceed to put the question forward.
Well, my only concern with that is that's what you want. I don't know that the board, it was not the board's direction to put a 1, 2, or 3-year term on the ballot. The recommendation was to go back and put on the ballot to go back to 2-year terms for both the mayor and the Board of Aldermen. And so, you know, that's, I think, was the consensus of the board. That's your idea to do it that way. My still recommendation would just be to put to the voters that we go back to 2-year terms. Alderman
Excuse me.
Sanders.
Yeah, and I was thinking the same, that we were just going to go back and say, this is what we'd like to do, and you specify, not give you options. But we didn't say, I mean, you know, Alderman Leahy mentioned the 2-year terms and that, but we didn't take any motion or vote. I would actually like to go with the 3-year term. I think 2-year terms, and you know, I did not vote for going to the 4-year terms because I understand that we don't have the power of recall, and I really wish we'd worked more on getting legislators to allow Class 4 cities to have the power of recall. So it makes us work harder to make sure that the cities on board, or the residents are on board with our decisions, and if they aren't, then they can do a petition like Maplewood did with the Quick Trip, and at the end, they were heard, but still, they didn't, you know, they didn't get their way. You know, the Quick Trip went through, but they did get some concessions. But the problem I have is with 2-year terms, and especially at a time when, you know, we're looking for some new, fresh ideas and changeover, your board isn't together for any real length of time, because every year half of it's turning over, whereas at least with the 3-year term, you have some continuity with the board. That's my only suggestion.
Well, but if the residents like it, then the board isn't turning over, so.
Okay. Your Honor,
Yeah.
we went to the Attorney General's because the city attorney and I, in working through the issue and going through the St. Louis County election, it was their strong suggestion that we take this course of action to get a clear path as to how best to proceed.
I just want to be clear, those are your questions.
No,
Again.
we have not put a term time on it.
I know.
We're looking just at whether or not we would reduce the 4-year term, how to do so.
But there was no discussion here about going back to either, putting to the voters a question whether they wanted a 2, 3, or 4-year term.
And at present, we haven't written any ballot issue to that. We're asking the process of how to go.
You're asking. I
Yes,
just want to
sir.
be clear.
But I want to
Yeah.
be clear, Andy mentioned the 2-year terms, and you said in relation to Andy's, we're going to see about the 2-year terms. But none of us discussed 2, 3, or 4.
Right.
Okay.
And so but that's what I'm getting at. So I just want to be clear on who's directing the city attorney and
Yeah, I don't
who's asking
know.
the question. It wasn't the Board of Aldermen, it was Alderman Leahy.
Okay.
You know, again, my suggestion still is just to go back to the 2-year terms, but that would be, you know, it's up to the board to make a motion and to vote on that, so.
Why do you want the
I think it's
2-year
up to
versus,
voters.
you pushed for the 4, why are you saying 2 versus 4, and versus 3?
Well, I still have a very strong opinion that I think the mayor's term should be 4 years and the alderman should be 2. Since election's been over, I said that. I did not vote for the alderman to be a 4-year term. That is the control. The mayor does not do anything on his own.
Right.
The Board of Aldermen does that. But if that's what it takes to get the alderman back to 2 years, then I say go ahead and make the mayor 2 years as well.
Okay.
You know, and I think the way the state statute is written is the mayor's term actually, or the mayor's term actually has to go back to a vote, right? Frank, or is it the opposite?
That's actually a question. If you look at the state statute, I don't think a 3-year term is an option for aldermen.
Right.
There is no clear direction as to whether or not going back to 2-year terms is a matter that would have to be put to a vote, or whether it's a matter of the board repealing its prior ordinance.
Right.
It's a glitch in the way the thing's written, in my opinion.
Yep.
And that's because they just changed that a couple years ago.
With respect to the alderman.
Right. So, which is quite common at the state level. Alderman Kramer.
As long as we're discussing this issue, I just want to repeat what happened, which was that as we discussed this before, I forget what year that was, the idea was for the voters of our city to decide on the terms. The voters voted and decided. I think if it's going to change again, it should be up to the voters. And I think at this moment, we should wait for the Attorney General's opinion, if there is one, to come from the process and go from there. I think it's nice for us all to say, I would like to have this, I would like to have this, I would like to have that, and talk about the pros and cons. But in reality, it's not up to us. It's really up to the residents. The residents put us in here. They can tell us how long they want us or if they don't.
I agree 100%.
But you have to give them something on the ballot.
Right.
And that's what we do. We give them the 2, 3, or 4 on the ballot.
We'll find out what the...
So more to come.
Yes.
Okay. If anybody would like to address the board, please come forward and give us your name and address.
Excuse Susan Ryan Pine. When you ask for like to send out an email for the municipal league or whatever else, can we have that put on the website as far as the updates that you're talking about, so that we can have an easy link that if I wanted to go and actually follow through with that, I can come to our,
You can go there now. You can go to Municipal League now.
I'm talking about Brentwood's.
Yeah, but we could put the
So that we
weekly
had
updates from
we go to,
Municipal League on our
because you're
website.
saying, you're asking the citizens, you're asking these people,
Right.
and so if you have a short link to it,
Yeah,
it's a
we
hop,
can put
skip, and a
the-
jump, and that will actually follow through and,
We'll
you
put
know.
that under documents, yep.
Yeah, that'd be great. That would be great. All right, thanks.
Okay. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, we are adjourned.